All right. So I have a goal, and that goal is to watch every piece of Star Wars media there is. I've gone through the Skywalker films. I've watched the Clone Wars movie, the animated one. And yesterday, I decided to watch Rogue One. I needed a little bit of live action detox, and I heard Rogue One was watchable. And I'm happy to say it was. So yeah, I'm making this video on the good and the bad, in my opinion, of Rogue One. Let's get into the video. To start off, I think Rogue One genuinely is a good movie. It is 2.5 hours. It's risky making a 2.5 hour movie nowadays. And I know it was made in 2016. No, it was a while ago, but I do think it is pretty good. For Star Wars, I think this is what Disney needs to watch, you know? Or they need to like focus on. Because Rogue One almost captured, honestly, it captured almost every single story beat we needed as Star Wars fans. I think it had a great cast of characters that were semi interesting. The female lead, I didn't dislike at all. She was pretty good. I thought she was the weakest of the main cast, but that's only because most scenes with her, she didn't really say much. She just had like a face on her. So if she just said more, like her thoughts and opinions on things, rather than just a face, I think it would have been a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. Overall, I think she's good. Um, I think obviously the the goat is Grandmaster Tarkin. I'm a big Tarkin fan. I love them from the Clone Wars. And I remember seeing him in the old films. Now, I don't know for a fact, but it seems like Grandmaster Tarkin, or Grand Admiral Tarkin, whatever his title is, it definitely seems like his face is CGI, and I understand why. I believe he was shown, I want to say in 1980, 1983? Either Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, one of the two. But man, it looked pretty good, you know. It was a nice little detail I noticed. Now it did seem like CGI, but it's fine. It's fine, you know. You had someone who looked really well done, and very very close to like what they look like in the universe. So if you need CGI to do that in 2016, hey, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? And considering this is the this is 1 year after Force Awakens, it's like I think this is by far the taker of Disney's fucking Star Wars films. I think it's by far better than Force Awakens. Not even fucking close. But yeah, I thought Tarkin goated. K2 was one of the best original designs for a droid I've ever seen. And I actually truly mean that. He was like the whole concept of him being a reprogrammed Imperial droid, but he just spouts like whatever's going on inside of his fucking brain, because it's like a result of the rewiring. I thought it was a great concept, goated concept, honestly. Um, we need more K2s, you know? You got to develop like an actual care for the droid, and then when he sacrificed himself, it was even better. It was actually really well written, in my opinion. Now, I don't think, I think he was like pretty close to perfect, to be honest. As far as droids go, you had sacrifice, you had a great build up to it, you had great things. The only thing a little goofy is when you would kill some stormtroopers. And that's some bad things I'll get into in a little bit, but I'm just gonna focus on the good stuff. They did a great job with the main cast, Cassian, the girl, K2, the rogue pilot. I thought he was pretty decent. He was even. They did a great job with character development, where Cassian at the beginning seemed like this guy who knew everything. You know, we got on missions, and he seemed to be questioning himself, and he seemed to not really want to do things that the Republic wanted to do. And then he ended up not doing, like, he disobeyed orders basically, and he joined another person trying to do the right thing. You know, great character development there. Same thing with the pilot. Pilot was very. He was a pussy basically, but he ended up growing some balls because he needed to. You know, when he needed to connect the pipe to the ship, or the wire to the ship, he's like, "Yo, I can't do this." And you know, you had Cassian being like, "Nah, bro, you gotta do this." And he was like, I bet if I have to. And he got his ass up and he just ran through gunfire, you know? All the characters, great character development. Like how they all played out. And yeah, the connections to the main story are honestly like almost perfect as well. They did a great job referencing A New Hope with, you know, Princess Leia and Organa. You know, Organa, we need you to send someone. Don't worry, I trust her with my life. And they send Princess Leia, you know? Amazing idea. You know, you even had the hallway scene where Darth Vader intercepts the cruiser, and then the cruiser gets away, and then that's why they chase the cruiser. It's just, oh, everything that connected was so fucking good. You know, R2D2 and C3PO were kind of just thrown in there, but other than that, like, everything just made a lot of sense, you know? And it connected very, very well to A New Hope. It was like just a masterpiece in terms of just connections, only connections. Moving on, we had great, unique characters, you know? That's very hard for Star Wars to do well. From what I've seen from The Acolyte, from Obi-Wan Kenobi, I haven't watched the shows, but I've seen clips. All the new characters added into any of these shows, ass, terrible, fucking awful. The last unique character that I've heard is good would be probably the Mandalorian. Outside of that, I haven't heard a peep, you know? Maybe Grogu, but that's about it. Now, the unique characters are like Saw Gerrera, are like some of the fucking aliens, like the newer designs, I guess, because you know, they're not using the same fucking, they're not using 9 Nub in every single scene. They're using like different newer aliens that you don't really see too often, at least in 2016. I haven't seen any of the aliens in the films. They look nice, they look good, like the one that could fucking mind control, or mind read. I thought it was a cool idea. And, but yeah, Saw Gerrera, I thought was a pretty cool character. Now, he's not like a perfect character, and he wasn't on screen for very long, but he's a solid character that Star Wars made. Brand new. I understand why it took, you know, or why he wasn't there for very long. I understood why, you know, he needed to die. I understand a lot of it. You know, the main character's parents also, great idea having the main character's father be the one who plants like the issue with the Death Star. I thought that was pretty clever, you know, and he did it and named it Stardust. He called his daughter Stardust when she was little. Great connections, fantastic. I actually thought they did a really good job. On top of all that, they had like new characters in terms of like the red leader, the blue leader, the gold leader. Like they had all those scenes perfectly done. You know, all those leaders, you know, some of them died. There was wars going on, people were dying. It's fucking fantastic. Pilot, again, great. The only two that I didn't really like was the guy with like that heavy gun and the backpack, who follows around the blind dude. Now the blind dude, I think, is a stand-in for a Jedi. I think they didn't want to have a Jedi, but they ended up having him instead. I just think he's a little plant, you know? He's like the plot plant, you know? He's got to advance the plot. He's got to be the one that, like, saves people whenever bad things are about to happen, or warns people when bad things are about to happen. I didn't like him that much. I thought the blind dude was a little too much with the Force attuned, because I think the whole point of Rogue One should have been like no forces involved. It's just people doing the right thing or people doing the wrong thing, you know? That's what I personally think. But yeah, you know, they even had a new fucking I forget the race right now. Like Admiral Akbar, you know, like That's a crap, you know. They had a different one. They had a blue fish guy who was older and like fucking, he had a big fucking sack on his chin. It's pretty cool looking, you know. And he did things. It wasn't just like he was there, said two things, and it was done. You know, he was on screen for a good like 5 minutes, I want to say. But yeah, great new characters, and honestly did a fantastic job. Scenery also amazing. Oh my god, bro, the planets, the way they portray the Empire every time when it's like, you know, black screen and then you slowly see a Star Destroyer pull up. Great idea, fantastic idea. You know, they should do those more often. Um, Outside of that, like when they show the case the Death Star, great reference to like I think it's a New Hope. I want to say it's a New Hope, where it's like the Death Star's in the background and it's just like slightly faded out. Great fucking portrayment, you know. Just overall really really good stuff. The the fights were also really well done for the most part. The fights are kind of where we get into like the bad territory. So anything involving the space battles, I thought were really done, really well done. They were great to watch. They were great to follow. You know, you had AT-ATs walking in on scene, and then you had the X-Wings come in, and the X-Wings shoot them up, and then you had the Rebels show up, and then the Rebels are fighting the Empire and everything at the end. The bad fight scenes, I would argue, are more or less around the beginning to the middle, where it's just kind of clear that the good guys, for whatever reason, take more damage than bad guys. There's a few scenes where, like, a rebel will get shot in the chest, and then he's just running to safety, and then he just, you know, crouches down, and he waits. You know, meanwhile, every stormtrooper gets knocked down by a stick, you know? The old man can just beat the shit out of the stormtroopers with a stick, you know? I don't know, to me, I thought it was just a little wacky, didn't really make sense. They're wearing armor for a reason, but it can't block a stick. You know, I understand it, it's got that metal part at the end, but still, okay. And then you had K2 literally knock over two stormtroopers with another stormtrooper, but he literally, like, picked them up, bonk, bonk. Alright, now they're all dead. Like, I don't know, to me, I thought it was a little goofy. At times, I thought, like, sometimes the stormtroopers, like, you could just flick their helmet and they would just die. But other than that, I thought it was overall great. I thought, they made sense. I would have liked for a little bit more, like, sensical fighting, but, you know, goofy fights aren't the worst, you know, especially when K2 bonks the two, and then one of them wakes up and shoots him in the back, and then he has to turn around and blast him, you know. I don't mind that. And compared to Force Awakens, it's like, I'll take anything at this fucking point, you know what I mean? But I do think it was good overall. But there were some just goofy bad scenes and goofy deaths, you know, like the stick beating the shit out of them. They're just dead now. But yeah, I would also like to say that Darth Vader, until the end, was portrayed the worst I've ever seen of Darth Vader. Now I'm not saying it's unwatchable or anything, but he's in the Vat tank, pretty cool. He gets out of the Vat tank, and he says some things, and the Admiral's like getting cocky with him, and then as he's walking away, the Admiral slowly is being choked. I think it would have been way cooler if he just started fucking lifting and being choked, like way more intimidating. But I don't know, maybe it was just a grounded choice. Maybe they didn't want to portray Vader as that strong yet or something. But I think it was okay. I think it was okay. Definitely the worst I've seen of like any animated or live action Vader. And then we got to the end where Vader was a badass and he was just killing all the rebels, and then you know, it was on the ship and everything. Really cool stuff. That part I enjoyed. Middle part I didn't really enjoy. Outside of that, anything else that's bad? Not really. I know the Death Star is supposed to be the thing that blows up planets, and it didn't really blow up a planet. It blew up a city on a planet, so it's a little different. But maybe that's just like Mark 1 of the Death Star, I'm guessing. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie. It definitely did have some bad portions, and I would say like I want to say like 78% of the time it was good, and then like the 22% it was a little goofy, a little messy. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. Overall, if you haven't watched it, and I just spoiled everything for you, I think it's worth a watch. I think it's really good. Especially for a Star Wars fan. If you haven't watched it, it's fresh, it's new. It might be a little boring at the beginning, but yeah. Other than that, thought it was good. Um, just wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out there, so that I can remember all my takes on every single Star Wars media. I think overall, I'm gonna give Rogue One a 7 out of 10. You know, it was good, but it definitely had a lot of goofiness to it. But I can look past the goofiness because it had other good parts about it, Where something like any of the Rey Skywalker trilogy, all of his dog shit and all of it doesn't make any sense, and none of the characters are likable. And Rogue One, I at least liked characters like K2. I at least liked the Rogue pilot near the end. I learned to like some of the characters. Um, but yeah, I don't know the general consensus of how other people see it, but I do think it's like a 7 out of 10 movie. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. But yeah, that's my thoughts and opinions. If you made it to the end, just want to thank you for watching. Feel free to comment down below what your favorite Star Wars movie is. Um, and yeah, as always, have a good day.